Okay guys, we are back. This is day 3 with Mr. Maui here. He's starting to loosen up. He's starting to let his hair down a little bit. Introduced him to my personal dogs this morning. That went great. I posted that on my Instagram stories. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should go check that out for some additional value. I'd like to think anyway. But in today's video, one of the pain points was that homeboy pulls, which is a usual pain point. Like when people don't teach a dog to be a follower, the dog is usually teaching the owner to follow, and it's just been like a habit of the dog to sort of just really not have somebody there to teach them, hey man, follow me, bro. Right? So gonna talk a little bit about my specific strategy in reference to my starting point with him. As you can see, again, I got the long line on again because this is one of those situations where I really like to take tension out of the equation. I could use a 6-footer on this, but it's not that complicated what we're doing here. We're going to be kind of like introducing, how to follow pressure. It's a simple drill called pressure release. And I think another thing that you're going to see throughout the course of this video is lots of directional changes, right? At this point in time, him just being out here is very interesting to him, and it's very limited in reference to competing motivators and stimulation, okay? And so this is a good starting point to start a drill like this, because if we can't get him to follow us like an absolute gentleman with essentially really nothing distracting him, he doesn't or will not have anything to fall back on when things get a little bit more difficult. Does that make sense? So when we're talking about teaching dogs, and I start to talk about teaching fairly, teaching appropriately, this is what I mean. To think that he can just go out into the world right now and be an absolute gentleman without me putting any foundation, laying any foundation for him, it's unrealistic and it's kind of unfair. And when you do this, and you expect more from a dog than what you have taught them, this is gonna cause frustration and anger and impatience within you. Right? And then you're going to resent your dog for it when really he just hasn't learned yet. So I'm just going to get into what my plan is here. I got my clicker. Okay, we're going to start loading a clicker for him because somewhere down the road, we're also going to want to utilize this clicker as a behavior, emotion interrupter, right? I love charging a clicker for dogs that tend to be a little bit overstimulated by environmentals. And charging a clicker is nothing more, it means nothing more than giving this specific sound significance. Now, I don't know if homeboy's gonna take food from me right now. He hasn't eaten a whole lot, which is pretty common when I get board and trains. Eventually he'll get hungry enough to eat. But I do have a little bit more of like a higher value options in my pocket right now. And enough talking, let's just get into it. Papacito, come on. That's a guy. I do have a prong collar on right now. I've got it on both loops so to take the martingale feature out of the equation. Good. Do you take food? Oh, he took food. That's beautiful. Another way to reinforce. Awesome. A lot of times that dogs are sketchy and skitzed, they won't take food because they're a little too stressed out. But see, he goes this way. Ah, it's a guy. Hey. Yeah. Yes. Good. Cool. Super boring drill, but you wait for the dog to kind of go on their own page that way. Little bit of pressure, click and pay. Beautiful. And you just do this on repeat over and over again. Okay? So you start walking. You're not going to try to keep him from fucking going past you. You're going to let him do what he does. You're going to turn, pressure, release. And that reward, pressure, release. The reward is not only the food that we're rewarding him with, but when pressure comes off, that's also a form of reward. So pressure comes off, reward. So it's almost like a double whammy. And so with this specific drill, you're kind of effectively teaching him that when he feels this light pressure, oh, I know that pressure. And usually there's something good on the opposite side of it. And people that talk shit on prong collars and stuff like that, it's really interesting to me that they have such strong opinions on shit they don't understand. Nice. I'm effectively teaching him that this prong collar pressure, this very light prong collar pressure, is a positive thing, right? Pressure, release, click, pay. And I'm just gonna walk around, change directions. Good, man. So the clicker isn't quite yet charged. Literally my first 15 times clicking it. Gotta have something good in it for him directly after the sound. Pressure, release, click, and pay. Okay? We're painting the Mona Lisa for this motherfucker. Clear, fair, precise, and appropriate communication is what I fuck with. I mean, I don't know. I do know how a lot of people do shit. There's a lot of goofballs out there. There's a lot of imitators. There's a lot of plagiarists that don't really necessarily even have a reason for the things that they do what they do. They just saw somebody else do it, and they start copycatting. Everything that I do, yes, it was taught to me by somebody, but I really take it upon myself to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, and does it coincide with my ethics, my morals, in reference to how I get the results from my dog. I'm very light-handed. I love utilizing tools, but I love dogs, and I know that I could teach them fairly. I know that the dog dictates what's aversive. I know that I have a strategy, and everything that I do revolves around relationship building. Heavy-handed, lazy, insufficient motherfuckers, they don't have that. They're not thinking in terms of like, I love dogs. And that everything that I have in my life right now revolves around the fact that these dogs have helped provide this shit. And so that's where my frame of mind is. I owe it to these kids to put in the work. I owe it to these kids to be fair, to be appropriate, and to paint a clear picture for them so that they understand. Right? Not expecting more of them than what I've taught them. You know, no frustration, no tension. Good boy. Good man. Yeah, that's a boy. That's a boy. That's a boy. Change directions. Good man, stop. Now that's a guy. That's a guy acknowledging that he has a handler now, huh? It's a beautiful day. Southern California. Guys, thank you for tapping into the video. I don't really have a whole lot more to go over. I've made this video what seems like 5,000 times because I've had 5,000 of the exact same pain points. Good boy. And to end it, after you do this for a while, you just start to see if the work's right there, right there. You start to see if the dog's starting to make the choice to follow you on their own. Right there. Very limited pressure on the leash. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And just to show you kind of what it looks like after the fact, we want a dog that's acknowledging the handler. We don't want a dog to be in his own world. This is one flesh. We're together. This is me and you. And that's it. I'm going to lead the way. I love you so much. I love you so much that I'm going to go above and beyond to provide clarity to you, because that's how we live more prosperously together. I love you guys for watching the video. I'm Captain Chad Gabbs. This is Maui. This is day 3 of my 3-week board and train program. Stay tuned for more content just like this. Well, maybe not just like this, but we're going to do some confidence building stuff. We're going to do some public exposure. Evidently, he's reactive while out there. But again, that shit doesn't happen until we lay this beautiful foundation where him and I become one, and then we have something to fall back on once we get out there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.